Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're counting down our picks for the 20 scariest, creepiest, and otherwise strange and odd locations from a wide variety of non-horror video games. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. 3. Earthbound. Gosh, where do I even begin with the nightmare-fueled town of Threed from Earthbound? Well, apart from red-eyed ghosts greeting your bus as you enter the town from the tunnel, as well as all of the off-putting locals talking about zombies running rampant and trying to destroy the humans, there's a staggering cornucopia of spooky goings-on. From creepy kids wearing masks to sentient marionette dolls, trash monsters, and zombie dogs for Ness and Co. to battle, to heck, even a spooky graveyard to explore, and even to the dilapidated, seemingly abandoned circus that would make even P.T. Barnum run for the hills. Threed is just downright creepy and disturbing. Oh, and that's not even mentioning the haunting, ethereal, dissonant music and the dark, moody, mauve environment. Probably better to take your vacation elsewhere, seeing as the town of Threed is not quite right. Dark Bramble, Outer Wilds. Sure, 2019's evocative and thought-provoking, time-looping indie sci-fi game might not seem ripe for the picking when it comes to scary things, but I mean, come on, have you seen Dark Bramble? Talk about a slap in the face when it comes to a complete tonal change. Outer Wilds already has its fair share of somber existential dread moments, but Dark Bramble turns this part of the game into full-on cosmic sci-fi horror. Exploring this gnarled, twisted, fog-laden, labyrinthian locale is pretty darn unforgettable, especially once you stumble across the giant anglerfish beast skeleton where your moment of respite just so happens to be. The Morgue, Batman Arkham Asylum. Gosh darn it, Scarecrow, why do you gotta keep ruining Batman's day? Arkham Asylum's morgue section might be extremely short and overall quite limited. However, what it lacks in gameplay longevity, it more than makes up for in sheer terror. Now, it could be said that Arkham Asylum is already a pretty scary place in and of itself, but the morgue truly takes the gross moldy cake here.
Please help me, Batman!
Serving up as one of the first encounters Batman has with Scarecrow in the game, this locale is all about horror. From Batman witnessing visions of temporarily back-to-life corpses of his parents in body bags, to Commissioner Gordon's dead body in a hallway, to the sounds of ghostly voices echoing in the morgue, to, even Scarecrow himself popping out of a body bag only to thrust Batman into a cat-and-mouse gameplay section. The morgue is certainly not for the faint of heart.
Help us, Bruce! Don't let us die!
Sanctuary of the Scion, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider's Sanctuary of the Scion stage isn't scary in the way you might think, such as with jump scares or even creepy imagery. Sure, this stage's monstrous aberrations, such as the various forms of the Atlanteans, are certainly nothing to scoff at, but it's really in how this 12th stage feels to experience, mostly down to how deeply unnerving it truly is. Much of this comes from a complete lack of music, only occasionally kicking in before promptly stopping as you hear the winds howl and wail through the caves and tunnels of this Egyptian locale. Sanctuary of the Scion feels oppressive, like something is watching Laura around every corner, and no, I don't mean the massive sphinx in the central part of the level. Where the rest of the game feels like Indiana Jones-esque high adventure, this level is a stark contrast, offering foreboding feelings as you explore its labyrinthian design. The Derelict Reaper, Mass Effect 2.
What just happened?
The Reaper's Mass Effect fields are still active. We just passed inside their envelope.
Isaac Clarke from the Dead Space series would likely feel right at home aboard this aptly named Derelict Reaper, given that it's overflowing with zombie-like beings such as the Husks, Abominations, and Scions, akin to the terrifying necromorphs from Dead Space. But alas, Mass Effect 2 is not a sci-fi horror game, not at all actually. So when Commander Shepard and crew step aboard this very much disturbing locale in the hopes of destroying the Reaper core, things quickly turn full-on Scarefest. Bombarded from all angles by the aforementioned Husks, Abominations, and Scions, finding people impaled on massive spikes in ceremonial/sacrificial fashion, and even coming face to face with a Geth, well, yeah, it's safe to say that the Derelict Reaper is the stuff nightmares are made of. Creepy Castle, Donkey Kong 64. Yes, I know what you're thinking. How the heck can a level in colorful, charming 3D collectathon platformer Donkey Kong 64 be scary? And to that, I would say, have you actually played through Creepy Castle? While it's certainly no horror game location, it's still a deeply unsettling locale that sort of feels at odds with the rest of the game. Apart from being a massive floating haunted castle, emphasis on haunted here, it's one of those dark, dank, and dreary stages filled with shadows, skeletal minions, ghostly goons, bizarre level-specific imagery, off-kilter, yet still somewhat oddly whimsical dissonant music, mist and fog, and barrels of rainy, stormy weather. Oh, and well, if that wasn't enough to put you on edge as you hoover up collectibles, there are also pervasive haunting moans and ethereal spectral sounds. So yeah, Creepy Castle is, well, downright creepy. The name really says it all here. Markarth Abandoned House, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
So you don't know anything about this house?
No.
Anyone seen entering or leaving? Any strange lights or unusual noises?
It's abandoned, and it's always been abandoned.
Molag Bal, you dastardly Daedra, always up to no good, seriously. While Skyrim is certainly not devoid of plentiful creepy locales, we'd be hard-pressed to find one scarier than the abandoned house in Markarth. This haunted house is straight out of Paranormal Activity, with its poltergeist activity, ghostly whispers, and evil rites. Part of the House of Horrors quest, this abandoned house is noteworthy for its Daedra worship, hence why you find Vigilant Tyrannus of the Vigilance of Stendarr berating people for info about this supposedly empty, long-forgotten house. Now, should you agree to enter with Vigilant Tyrannus, then just be prepared for Molag Bal to have a field day with both of you, ultimately ending with you being trapped in a cage in the bowels of the house, with the evil Daedra insinuating that you must be the one to take part in his insidious machinations.
Fool! Did you think Molag Bal, the Lord of Domination, would so easily reward you?
Haunted Hogsmeade Shop, Hogwarts Legacy. Apart from being one of the very best games of the last few years, Hogwarts Legacy specifically excels in the quest department. The game is just chock full of fantastically fleshed out main, side, and activity quests. And while the game does have some intense spookier moments from time to time, no part of the game really ups the creepy factor like the Haunted Hogsmeade Shop, also known as the Minding Your Own Business questline. The mischievous, fanciful Fastidio the Poltergeist is up to no good in the bowels of the eponymous shop, a locale that makes the Shrieking Shack seem like a McDonald's play place by comparison. From magical, sentient, and incredibly creepy mannequins, to twisting, warping corridors, to supernatural shenanigans, heck, to even topsy-turvy battles against Fastidio, this bewildering locale is equal parts unnerving and whimsical.
Very well. I shall agree to your contract with one small addendum.
Hooray!
Hey! No more of this unsatisfying banging about all day in a pitiful void!
Bottom of the Well, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The mausoleum of monstrosities that is Kakariko Village's Bottom of the Well is nothing short of pure horror-induced nightmare fuel. Seriously, where do we even begin with this deeply disturbing location? How about the decaying skeleton right at the bottom of the well? How about the fact that Navi comments on how she can hear the spirits? What about the undeniably off-putting dead hand? How about all of the spooky, morbid imagery adorning many of the walls? Or how about the mummy-like aberrations known as Gibdos who, and well, how do we put this delicately, just want to embrace Link like some sort of unholy panda bear? So yeah, the Bottom of the Well mini dungeon is straight up all-encompassing terror around every dank, damp, and grimy corner. Yeah, good times. Lavender Town, Pokemon Red and Blue. Even if you took away the creepy urban legends and rumors about Lavender Town's haunting, off-putting, dissonant music, you'd still be left with a town that, while looking quite harmless on the surface, is very clearly possessed by something malicious. Townsfolk here tell you all about evil spirits and roaming ghosts, about how their beloved Pokemon were killed, about various grave sites, and who could forget, the fact that many of them straight up admit to being possessed or knowing friends of theirs who got possessed. Yeah, those are definitely things you don't want to hear when venturing into a new town. Lavender Town, and by extension the Pokemon Tower, is a resting place and graveyard for Pokemon who have died. Are the townsfolk here manipulated by Pokemon ghosts, or is there something else entirely nefarious at play that we just don't know about? Either way, Lavender Town gets a 1-star TripAdvisor rating in our book. The Bunker, Uncharted Drake's Fortune. What starts out as a mostly innocuous, seemingly abandoned, dilapidated World War II bunker very quickly devolves into full-on third-person survival horror. Nathan and Elena find themselves at this spooky locale, only to get trapped by some descendants, humanoid monsters that call this place home, for better or for worse. With the power out and the generator needing to be fixed in order to proceed forward, it's up to Mr. Drake to explore this disturbing location. With his walkie-talkie now on the fritz, he really is alone to fend off the encroaching descendants. While Nate does have plenty of firepower to take down the baddies, it still doesn't make up for the fact that the bunker is dark, twisting, derelict, and overflowing with odd noises and creepy denizens.
You know, I bet if we can make it to the generator room, we could get the power turned back on. We just gotta find a way out of here first. Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Found a way out.
The Vortex Queen Showdown, Echo the Dolphin. Now, if you thought Echo the Dolphin for the Sega Genesis was just a cute, cozy, and adorable adventure game all about dolphins, then boy oh boy would you be dead wrong. Sure, this game might have the facade of a wholesome aquatic adventure, however, as your journey with Echo progresses, it's very clear that something is amiss. This point becomes none truer than when you encounter the entirely terrifying Vortex Queen, a massive, disturbing, bug-like alien creature who just so happens to be the mother of the Vortex species. Although you don't encounter the Vortex Queen until the final parts of the game, it's a real shock to the system, both for Echo and for you, the player, since not only is she a tyrannical, dictatorial being, but she is also hell-bent ensuring her will is upheld by everything around her. Oh, and she was also responsible for taking captive Echo's dolphin pals. This multi-phase showdown is pure nightmare fuel and provides a gargantuan tonal shift from the rest of the game. Gotta say though, that boss battle music is pretty darn chill. Abyssal Woods, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. With a name like Abyssal Woods, it's hard to think anyone was hoping for a quaint, low-key walk through a bucolic verdant forest, but gosh darn it, this locale really does take the rotting cake here. In a game that is already brimming with horror-inspired locations to traipse through, the Abyssal Woods comes along to wreck your day. If the giant flesh-eating rats don't send you to your demise, then the Untouchables will ensure madness sets in rapidly. The twisted, gnarled, labyrinthian design of these festering woods is made even more unnerving by the complete lack of music, instead heightening your anxiety with a dissonant, ethereal soundscape that ratchets up the disturbing ambiance tenfold. You may think you are ready for this fog-laden, shadow-strewn, monster-ridden plot of land, but it will get the best of you. Beware the madness. Von Everett Estate, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Gotta be careful.
An unnatural fog hangs about a derelict, once opulent manor. Dark clouds enshroud the skies above, thieves looking to break in and loot from the dead, while a mysterious talking cat and dog duo prowl the gardens. Between the rot and decay surrounding the manor lies signs of life, but at what cost? It's here that Geralt finds himself in search of Iris von Everett at her titular estate, a massive haunted manor that offers more questions than answers.
A man should frame his wishes carefully. It forestalls disappointment.
This some sick joke. Why didn't you tell me she was dead right away?
You didn't ask.
From a supernatural caretaker tending to fresh graves, to a scorned and bitter wraith, to plentiful poltergeist activity to ward off strangers, the Von Everett Estate is a deeply moody and harrowing location set during the scenes from a marriage questline. Seeing everything this quest offers in and around the very much haunted manor is intensely captivating and utterly enthralling, capped off with the invocation of Lady Von Everett's tormented spirit, where Geralt discovered what he's actually after, all centering around this infamously spooky locale.
Show yourself.
Nightmare level, Max Payne.
I really love to watch cartoons. Captain Baseball Bat Boy's my favorite.
The OG Max Payne might be an intensely gritty and grimy hard-boiled game, however it's a far cry from a horror game. That is, until you get to Max's nightmare stages. These infamous stages are straight out of a horror film as you guide Max along tightrope-like blood trails in a room full of darkness, with little guiding you along the bloody maze apart from the screams, cries, and echoes of your murdered family, alongside some terrifying discordant music. These bloody trail nightmare stages are downright punishing since there's actually little room for error here. Ocean House Hotel, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines' Ocean House Hotel is a complete tonal shift from the rest of the game. While, yes, the game of course has plenty of spooky, moody, and creepy gothic-infused moments, given it's, well, you know, all about vampires, it still mostly plays out as a pretty traditional action RPG, first and foremost, not a jump-scare-laden horror game. All of that, of course, goes out the window once you step foot into Ocean House Hotel, a derelict property haunted by all sorts of ominous specters who are up to plenty of supernatural madcaps. From lights flickering and bursting, to objects moving of their own accord, to grandfather clocks tolling, to phantoms running across the hallways, this hotel really does have it all for horror hounds. Queen Vanessas Manor, A Hat in Time. A A Hat in Time positions itself as a charming and wholesome family-friendly 3D platformer, and while it certainly is all of that to some extent, it's also a game with a very dark sense of humor. And no, I don't just mean Mafia Town. Enter Subcon Forest, a location that, if you actually want to enter, you must sign away Hat Kid's soul via a dark contract with the Snatcher. But it's Queen Vanessas' Manor that ups the horror ante even further. If you want to discuss pure nightmare fuel, then Queen Vanessas' Manor is right up there at the top, again, especially given how much of the rest of the game feels so wholesome. This haunted manor deep in Subcon Forest takes away your hat abilities, and instead makes you rely on stealth while finding a bunch of keys. The looming, shadowy presence of Queen Vanessa makes this location truly stand out, as you never really feel safe. The Dunwich Building, Fallout 3. As you explore the capital wasteland area of Fallout 3, you may just stumble across a nondescript, unremarkable office building known as the Dunwich Building, which, by the way, is a reference to the Dunwich Horror by cosmic horror author H.P. Lovecraft. From the outside, there's really nothing that screams scary or horror, however, inside is a completely different story. If the feral ghouls and glowing ones don't put you off, then perhaps the myriad skeletons strewn about the place will. And if that's not enough, then you have ominous whispers and voices echoing through the halls. Plus, listening to Jamie's personal audio logs ups the creep factor tenfold here. Then, once you reach the mysterious and utterly scary skull-adorned obelisk in the bowels of the building, all bets are really off. The Dunwich Building is just pure terror. And for a similar spooky vibe in a different Fallout game, Fallout 4 specifically, look to the Museum of Witchcraft, an apt location that speaks for itself when it comes to scary places in non-horror games. Ravenholm, Half-Life 2. "We don't go to Ravenholm" has become a pretty famous line for Half-Life fans, and heck, even for those just with a passing interest in the games. However, for this entry, we do indeed need to go to Ravenholm to discuss just how scary this place is in comparison to the rest of Half-Life 2 specifically. This fire and brimstone, once thriving mining town and previous resistance stronghold is completely overrun by headcrabs and zombies alike. All Gordon Freeman needs to do is make it to the church on the other side, which, yeah, sounds simple enough, but alas, it's not. This creepy location is thriving for all the wrong reasons. Fortunately, you can utilize the many traps littered about to deal with the headcrab and zombie infestation. Shalebridge Cradle, Thief, Deadly Shadows. This terrifying location once served as an orphanage before swapping to an insane asylum and even shuttering its gates altogether, but not before it operated as both at the exact same time. I mean, what could possibly go wrong with that combination? Well, you probably guessed, everything goes wrong. Thief Deadly Shadows isn't exactly known to be a horror game, far from it actually. However, upon entering Shalebridge Cradle, it's very clear how deeply haunted this dilapidated building really is. Fires randomly started here, a creature known as the Hag was often seen by orphans, ghosts roam about the halls, and undead asylum patients known as puppets seek to cause mayhem and turmoil for Garrett. Shalebridge is a true rogues gallery of scariness, with no part of it ever feeling safe. The true horror hallmark for this locale is the impeccably unnerving audio design. Ethereal whispers and voices can be heard, phantom footsteps are in the hallways, screams and moans abound, and the ambient soundscape always keeps you on the edge of your seat. As you venture forth, keep in mind, the cradle remembers everything.
Oh no, you can't leave,
place remembers you now. You've been here too long.
So, do you agree with our creepy picks for this list? There are a staggering amount of scary locations in non-horror games. Which ones did we miss from our list? Be sure to let us know down in the comments. Thank you for watching this video from MojoPlays. If you do want to see more from us, then be sure to press that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on our top-notch daily gaming videos.